Well, now that the dust has settled and the showdown is done and dusted, we've reviewed it, and we're into a new week and a fresh start, and we're all positive and energetic and ready for another game of footy. Yeah, it's going to be a tough one, this one, isn't it? Port Adelaide versus Geelong at GMHBA Stadium, the newly redone GMHBA Stadium with the new grandstand. And I don't know, it seems like their construction site just keeps on going on in cycles, so I'm sure another grandstand will get done in the next couple of years. But it's a Friday night footy. It's the earlier time slot of 6:40. It's going to be one of those games where we're coming in as serious underdogs, and it's a game that no one's expecting us to win. Even our fans, even myself, I'm not expecting to win this game. I'm intrigued to see how we respond to a showdown loss that was very embarrassing and, well, quite shit, really. But I sit here now, and I'm going to preview the game with everyone, and we're going to talk about it and go through a few things, and can't escape the optimism, can I? So let's just get straight into it and preview round 9. There's two parts of me this week that are in various different moods. One is simply, we're playing Geelong in Geelong. This is virtually impossible. We haven't beaten them down there in 17 years. There's also this part of me that is nagging me at the back of my head, and I just feel it. There is a very good opportunity for us to make a statement here and stick it to the people, including myself, stick it to the people that have doubted us or have written us off. Now, teams over the years haven't had the greatest of starts to the season, and they've been left questioned. And I'm hoping Port Adelaide is the case. I'm not giving up on the year. Well, I actually said that in the last review. So yeah, I'm giving up on the year, but I just still want to see where this takes us, and there's still 2/3 of a season to go. And it starts with the greatest opportunity of them all, beating Geelong in Geelong at the Cattery, a place we haven't won in ages, back against the wall. They just come off their first loss of the year. We've lost in an embarrassing showdown performance, kicking 5 goals, 18. Tom Hawkins has been goalless for a month. Jeremy Cameron missed every goal he could possibly kick last week and didn't kick one. There is serious upside for both sides here that a response after a loss for Geelong in Geelong, it's credible. Port Adelaide travelling away without their captain in a game where they must simply win to have any sort of credentials still left in the tank from outside noise. They'll still believe inside that momentum is a wonderful thing, and after this it gets easier the run for Port Adelaide a little bit into the bye. But I just sit here now and you look at what could possibly end up happening, and this is a ground that we haven't so much liked to play out. It is a ground that likes to be quite skinny. It likes corridor football. You're very good on the transition. If you can nail it and lower your eyes, you're very much going to win this game. Port Adelaide don't like going to lowering their eyes inside 50. It's very much bomb and hope. It'll be a contested game. And this is where Ken Hinkley must sit there in the coach's box with his assistant coaches and say, right, I've had enough of doing this and this and this and sticking to the plan. I'm sick of this plan A, no plan B, plan C business. What I would be doing this week is your starting 3 in the middle is your Wines, your Boak, and your Butters. Right, that's my 3. Boak should be a midfielder. We proved last week that he chipped in every now and then and he got the footy. He knew how to win the footy. He could dance around. He still got those moves. He knows how to win the footy. Wines, you've got to put it to him. You've got to say, look, Butters is going to lead us by example. He's going to be the captain this week. But Wines, you are the senior executive. You're the one that needs to stand up this week. You need to impact the contest. And that's what we want from him. Drew can play that good role in the midfield. They've got quite a young-ish midfield now. Like Tanner Bruin has been quite good. But they're very gettable in there. And their ruckman can be dominated. And I think Sweet's got a great opportunity this week. And Stanley, doesn't quite fit that rein in terms of a good ruckman, in my opinion. They are gettable, Geelong. They are a well-sound team. They know what they're doing. They've got great plans in place. Their defence is elite. Tom Stewart is fantastic down there. Their forward line is incredible. They know how to execute. Obviously, they've got the 2 bigs in in Hawkins and Cameron, and Henry knows how to kick goals. Stengel's down there, Brad Close, Grant Myers around the 50 mark. They're all capable. The Geelong are capable of executing their plans to a T, and that's where we fall apart. And that's where I think, if for us, I don't really like focusing on the opposition because I know we're a good side. But this is where I think, instead of focusing on our plans and executing our plans, which have let us down this year, the transition, the opposition has had to kick goals. The Crows kicked 4 of their first 5 goals last week, I'm pretty sure, from transition, because we were too high up on the press and we couldn't execute in front of goal. Therefore, they had the opportunity to transition. And what they do, they get it out the back, or we give away a stupid free kick, and history has been written already. But I feel like Ken Hinckley has always had, or even just the coaching side of things, they've had a pretty damn good idea about how to do the defensive side. We've always been a pretty good defensive side, and I think that's lacking this year. If we can play a very good defensive performance, don't play pretty football. We don't have to play pretty football against Geelong. Just execute a defensive play and hit them where it hurts, and that's on the scoreboard. And when we can do that and transition well, I think we can get them. Now, that's just the optimism in me. I've said what I said in the review. I know exactly what I'm expecting this week. This could be ugly as well. But I'm just saying that this is the way I'd go about it. This is how I'd execute things. And I feel like, we've all sort of got our plans in place, and each supporter has their own opinion of how we should play. And I think that's fantastic. Port Adelaide have always had passionate people, and we're all a coach in a sense of the way everything's gone, especially the last 12, 13 years. We've always had opinions, and there's the group of anti-Ken, there's the group of pro-Ken, there's people in the middle, there's people that just want to see the boys be happy. And I think this week it's a bit of let's see what happens, because last week we wanted that showdown win, but we just knew it wasn't going to happen. It's just every Port fan knew that. This week we're anticipating a loss, but in a sense we want to see how we bounce back. And I like that mentality a lot more than feeling a loss last week and we knew it was coming and ended up being 5 goals 18. Also, I just want to touch on the goal kicking side of things. I couldn't give a shit, right? What coach comes out, assistant coach, Ken, whatever person that represents the club comes out and says, oh, we've been practicing hard, but it's not executing on game day. Don't practice. Don't practice it then. If you're working so hard and it's not executing on game day, do the opposite. Don't even practice. Just go out there and have shots. Go on a gut feel. That's, do the complete opposite of what you've been doing, because at the moment it's not working. So just throwing that out there. I don't care. We don't have to keep getting fed, this guy did this, and Dixon's been doing this, and they've been spending an extra hour after training kicking. I don't care. That's their job. You got to work on your art. You can't perfect your art if you don't practice. And if they keep practicing and it's not working, then try something different. This has been a long preview already, but just to tee it up some more. My selections this week: Aaliyah comes back in after concussion. Rosie obviously is not going to play. I would have Marshall out for Finlayson, and I'm not sure on anyone else. I don't know. Selection for me has been a bit hit and miss. 1 week we got good, 1 week we didn't. I would rest Lockie Jones purely for the fact I'm not risking hamstring injuries. Georgie Alice just got a knock. I think he'll be okay. So, Finlayson comes out in. Aaliyah comes in for Jones. Marshall obviously out, and the sub. I think Jed should be the sub. We still need that pressure and forward half pressure, and I think they're probably the only 2 changes you made. We've had an 8-day break, so we've been able to rest, which is great. And the game after this as well, we've got another 9-day break, I think, because we play Hawthorn on a Sunday at home. So for me, that this is probably a little bit of a better timing in terms of those injuries. So resting players this week, probably not an option. You're good players anyway, but players like Jones, players like Marshall, if they're carrying, if they're not right, don't play them. We've got replacements in those aspects of the game. Even if you have to throw Bergwijn back, it's one of those things. You just change things up this week and see how they progress. And that leads me into my tip. I'm tipping. I think Geelong will win, but this is a Port Adelaide channel. We're Port Adelaide supporters. You got to have a little bit of hope. So I'll tip Port by 1. That's what we do, don't you? When you tip a game that you don't think your team will win, but you got to tip them anyway. Port by 1. Thank you very much for watching, Port fans and everyone else. I hope you've enjoyed the preview this week. Let me know your comments below on what this week's game is anticipating for you and how you're feeling going into this week. It's going to be a very fun week, and I'm looking forward to seeing how we go. Looking forward to it. Nearly at 1 million views as well, which is incredible for the channel. So thank you so much for the support. As always, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. If you're new to the channel, for plenty more Port Adelaide and AFL content that come your way. Thank you so much for watching. My name's Anthony, and as always, come ThePear.